Hi, I'm back. I really have something heavy on my heart today that I want to share. But first, I need you to get into these birthday slash Christmas nails. They're mostly Christmas, but birthday representing right here with the Sagittarius astrological sign. You can't really see it. I'm gonna post it on Instagram because the glare and the nude color. But anyway, I was talking to my nail tech today, and I have to be honest, I felt so sorry for her because it seems to me that her life is very limited to working kids. And she said something to me that really moved me to not only say it to her, but to get on here and talk about. And it's that thing that a lot of people do when they are afraid to step out of their comfort zone and do something that they've not ever done. And it's make excuses for why they aren't doing it right now. Now, I know that for a lot of people, developing friendship seems natural, but it doesn't come natural for a lot of people. Some people don't do well, making friends because they're shy or they have insecurities about themselves versus the type of people they want to actually be friends with. Some grew up in such isolated environments that they just don't have social skills. There are a lot of reasons why people have a hard time making friends. Me personally, I have always had it easy making friends. People naturally want to be my friend. And I think it's just because I give off warm, welcoming energy. I think that I talk very easily to people and I make it easy to talk to me. I like to laugh and cut up. I like to go out, but I also like to have quality time inside. I have a lot of girls' nights here in my home. And even though we're not quiet during those nights, we're very much eating and drinking and singing and dancing and just having the time of our lives. It is still a form of quality time that I gift to my friends in the form of a girls' night. And so my nail tech was saying that, once she kind of slows down with things, she'll find a way to make friends. And I said, but it doesn't quite work like that because time is not waiting. It's going to keep going. So what you have to do is you have to find people or even just one person who understands your life and your lifestyle, being a business owner, being a mom of young kids, being a wife, living, 30, 45 minutes away from maybe where most people that you would hang out with live. You have to find somebody that is going to understand your life and your lifestyle, and they're willing to pencil in time for you if they have more flexibility, but maybe you have a little less. So my friends and I have been close since we were freshmen in high school. So we've been friends for nearly 25 years. And we all have extremely busy lives. They have children, they have significant others, spouses. They run businesses. I work in the healthcare industry, so I'm not running a business, but I am working a very demanding job. And my days are long, their days are long, but when it is time to come together, when it is time to practice sisterhood with each other, we make time. And so where I'm going with all of this is no matter if we're talking a friendship, if we're talking a relationship, if we're talking wanting to start working out, start on a big art project, start working on investing, it doesn't matter. Please don't waste your time trying to find time to get started. Everybody has to start somewhere. So what I told her, and this is, again, it applies for everything. It doesn't matter what it is. What I told her is that when you are trying to get out of where you've been for a really long time and get somewhere else, it feels extremely uncomfortable. It feels unfamiliar. It even feels a bit unsafe because you don't know if this situation, this relationship, this adventure, whatever it is, you don't know if it's going to work. You don't know if it's going to work in your favor. But I'm here to tell you the worst thing that could happen if it doesn't work is it simply doesn't work. Anything that you invest in, there's a 50-50 chance that it's going to work or it's not. So you have to decide, is it worth it for you? Me personally, I think about the bigger picture. I'm not trying to skip any steps, but I'm looking at the end goal and saying, okay, do I really want that for myself, no matter what it is? And when I decide that I do, I'm like, okay, how do I even begin? And it has never mattered to me what it was. I did not stop until I got it. I'm going to give you a couple of examples. I started out as a medical assistant and knew within the first couple of weeks that I wanted to go on and be a nurse. So I set my sights out on going back to school. I really only had a couple of nursing programs in mind. I was trying to stay local, of course, but I knew that I was going to get in. I didn't know what it was going to take. I didn't know what it was going to take for me to get through it, but I knew I was going to get in. So I started my journey in 2008. I graduated from high school in 2005, graduated from medical assistant program in 2007, and then went back to get all of my nursing prereqs in 2008. Well, it took some time. It took about 5 years for me to complete all those classes because I would stop and start. I would work. I could only take one class at a time. I could only take a weekend class at a time. But I never stopped. I never gave up. I remember when I say stopped and started, what I mean by that is there was a point where I did take a whole entire year off, and that was very unplanned, very unintentional. Our nurse practitioner in our clinic was like, "Are you still in school?" She just asked me that out of the blue one day. And I was like, "Oh my God, I haven't taken a class in a year. Let me get on that." And I immediately went and signed up. I took that class. I passed it. I had all of my prereqs done and completed by then. So I said, now it's time to start applying for nursing programs. Mind you, I had already applied to probably 3 others over the course of 5 years. And I was either denied or I was put on a waiting list. And it didn't matter. I said, whatever I do, I'm going to get there. I'm going to make that happen. I don't care how much time it takes. I don't care what kind of sacrifices I have to make. I'm going to get there. So I ended up getting accepted. I started in 2014. I got done. I did a 2-year program. Boom, I was out. But it didn't matter what got in the way. It didn't matter what kind of barriers I felt like I was facing. I was going to knock them right the fuck over, and I was going to do excuse my language, I was going to do what I had to do. That's the same thing with anything. It doesn't matter what it is. If you really want to get out of your comfort zone and you really want to level up and I say level up, but what I mean is you really want more and better for yourself. It doesn't matter what it is. It could be all internal. It doesn't have to be a house, a car, a business, an education. It doesn't have to be that. You might want to just improve yourself mentally, emotionally, spiritually. Do what you have to do. Stop worrying about the time, because time is going to go on no matter what. And when that time goes on, I'm here to tell you, you can't get it back. So you might as well just keep going with it. Another example, I wanted to become a homeowner for a very, very long time. And there were a lot of things that got in the way. I had no idea at a young age, 25, I didn't know what it took to be a homeowner. I didn't have people teaching me these things. I had to learn it all on my own. So I had to establish credit. And it took some years for me to establish a decent amount of credit. So I did that, and it would be good, and then stuff would happen, and it'd be bad, and then it'd be good, and then it was just constant. Then I was unstable with where I was working. Not intentionally, I became a travel nurse, so I was constantly moving. I wasn't staying in the same spot, which makes the home buying process a little bit more difficult. But when I decided I was ready to finally sit down somewhere and be still, I said, let's get this done. And I kid you not, when I buckled down and decided I'm going to do this, within 2 or 3 months, I did it. So it does, but it shouldn't matter what kind of time you have or what kind of time you think you have. You have to take a chunk of that and say, this is for me. This is not for work. This is not for my family. This is not for any distractions on the outside. This is strictly for me. And when you do that, when you become self-centered, when you decenter everything else and you become self-centered, you're going to notice a lot of stuff starts to improve in your life. You're going to notice your confidence goes up. You're going to notice your mental clarity improves. You're going to notice that your emotional state is more stabilized and regulated, because the only thing you're focusing on is yourself and whatever your goals are. Now, when I say self-centered, that doesn't mean be selfish in a way where other people that you are responsible for or whatever don't matter. I'm not saying like your job doesn't matter, your kids, your family, your spouse. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying allow yourself to focus on you and what your goals are and what is important to you. It doesn't matter what the outside has to say about it, because I'm here to let you in on a little bit of a secret, which is probably not a secret. They're going to talk anyway. They're going to say whatever they want to say anyway. If you sit up procrastinating, they're going to talk about you wasting time. If you get up and go after, they're going to talk about how selfish you are. People are going to have something to say no matter what. People project a lot. They project a lot of what they don't have, what they lack, what they wish they had onto others. That's why it doesn't even matter. Just do you. Just do you. Just do your thing. Get out there and figure out what it is that makes you happy. You get one life. You get one life to go out here and be the best version of yourself. And so many people, especially women, and I guess I say especially women because I am more partial to women. I'm not going to lie. So many women have so many regrets when they get older. Now, a lot of them get second chances. You know, if their spouse dies before them or if they decide to get divorced, they get second chances at life. And hopefully they live a very fulfilled one with, you know, the years that they get to spend, you know, doing life the way that they ultimately want to do it. But nobody should have a whole list of regrets that they didn't, because they didn't get to experience life the way they really wanted to, and they experienced it the way somebody else, or they thought somebody else felt they should experience it. I just don't believe in that. You know, I remember being a teenager and I had a friend in high school who was always seeking validation from other people. And even at a young age of 16, I was like, you can't live your life like that. I remember telling her this. I said, everybody's not going to like you. Everybody's not going to agree with what you do and who you are as a person. Who cares? And the thing about high school, especially, you'll never see these people again. The same thing with people that you work with or, you know, you've met along the way, whatever the case may be. A lot of these people come and go. And another thing is, a lot of those people don't even have a real place in your life. So why in the world would anything that they have to say or anything that they think affect you? And I think that that's a part of my nail tech's problem too. She's so worried about what somebody will say or think about her choosing herself. She shared with me that she can't even go take trips because her husband thinks that she's going to be with another man. And I said, well, he should be scared of you being with another man. I mean, you're a nice looking woman. You're a boss lady. I mean, come on now, you're running a whole business and still being a mom and everything, still keeping your appearance up. I would be afraid that somebody would want you too if I was him. But, you know, that's a whole nother thing. And I can't tell somebody what to do in their marriage, but she was explaining to me that in their culture, you know, if you behave a certain way, then people look at you a certain way. And I don't know what that's like. So, of course, I can't speak on that. But as me, I realize that everybody's going to have an opinion regardless. So the only one that you really should be focused on is yours. And maybe even the few people whose opinions you actually value and who actually have a real perspective on your life and your situation because they've experienced it firsthand. And when I say experienced it, I mean they've experienced being in your life firsthand. So they get it. But anyway, if there's something, seriously, if there is something that you want to do for yourself, but you are so afraid to be a little uncomfortable, you're afraid to, I don't know, just try something new that maybe doesn't make sense to anybody else but you. Just do it. Maybe you ought to do it quietly. Some things aren't just they're just for you. They're not for other people to know. So keep that in mind too. Just, choose yourself, center yourself. Love on the people that love you. Be generous, be a giver, because that's how you get it. That's how you get things back. And being generous and being a giver isn't limited to things. It's your time, it's your energy, it's your love, it's your effort, it's your compassion, your sympathy, your empathy, everything. Be generous. That way you can always be on the receiving end of it too. And once you start to realize that you literally can be exactly who and what you want to be, but still also show up for the people around you, you're going to feel so much better about yourself. But like I said in my last video, it starts with you. You have to work on you first. You have to get out of your own way, and you got to build your own self up. And then everybody else around you will start to believe it, and then things will just start to naturally come your way. It's all about energy. It's all about what you pull in. So get up off your shoulders and just pray about it. If you don't believe in prayer, then just try manifesting. If you don't believe in manifesting, well, then this video ain't for you. Because we are believers of the power of words and suggestion, manifestation, prayer, all of that. It works. So anyway, I hope you guys are having a great start to your weekend. I'm having a great start to my weekend. My birthday is tomorrow, and I'm excited for my girls' night. So I'm actually going to get out of here and go enjoy a little bit of alone time. And I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.